Hi guys, welcome to another episode on Career Talks, where we talk about the lows and highs in your career journey. And joining me today is one and only Remi Adesoji. Is a senior business intelligence and intelligence
Analyst.
analyst.
Yes, that's right.
Uh, Remi, please introduce yourself.
Okay, hi everyone. Like Kay said, my name is Remi Adesoji. I'm a senior business intelligence analyst at Group M. It's a digital marketing company
Mhm.
here in Ireland. I've been working there for going on 4 years now.
4 years, that's a long time.
Yes,
Yeah.
so since 2021, I've been there. Came to Ireland in 2020 to start my journey first in masters and then moved started working at Group M. So yeah, that's a brief intro
Yeah, briefing.
about me. Yes.
And it's nice to have you here, Remy, and I really
Thank you very
appreciate you
much.
coming down here. So before we get into the whole question thing or do some icebreakers, just to
Okay,
lighten
okay.
up the atmosphere. So first one here is you seem like a let's say tourist. You seem like you
I
like to travel.
yes, I do love going out. I do
Exactly.
love going
Okay.
out. Yes.
So that's informed the first question, yeah?
Okay.
Hotel or Airbnb?
Ah, that's a good one. Um, I'd say Airbnb
Why Airbnb?
because there's sometimes I just want to, whip up a quick meal.
Okay,
I won't
fair
have
enough.
that chance in a hotel.
Hotel, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
fair enough.
there are no microwaves, no cookers, nothing. Sometimes I want to taste my own food.
Food, yeah.
I'm not keen on buying food outside. You know,
But
so I'd like to be in an Airbnb. Also, Airbnb I can choose to stay in the living room or
same the
probably stay in the
yeah,
room. Just have that feel of
of
still
home,
being at home.
yeah.
Yes. So while I like both hotels and Airbnb when I travel, but I think I favor Airbnbs more.
So you like something like home away from home.
Exactly.
Okay, fair
Exactly.
enough, fair enough. So the next one here is if you had to describe your career journey as a movie title, what would it be and why? Movie title.
The,
Live to
the,
see tomorrow.
this the challenge with this is I watch a lot of movies.
Mhm.
The problem with that is I hardly ever finish movies. I watch movies so I
Ah.
can sleep.
Oh, okay,
You
okay,
know,
okay.
so I watch quite a number of movies. So if you give me okay, so the movie that comes to mind would be Inception.
Hmm. I've seen Inception.
Yes.
And why
Now,
why Inception?
good. So I'd say Inception because it sort of has some story, at least the way I interpret it when I was, watching the movie a while back. I think that was 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
I
You
rewatch
watch,
movies,
yeah.
yes. So I was watching it again a while back. And basically the way two things that stood out to me, in the beginning of the movie, they were trying to steal some information from
Yeah.
someone.
Hmm.
And the whole dream within a dream just came to me like, oh, they're digging for data,
Hmm.
you know? And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. But then the other part is planting an idea, which was further down in the movie.
Yeah.
Again, they had to drill deeper in
Hmm.
order to plant an idea. And if we think about it, that's really how that's really the job of a data
Data.
analyst. You're either trying to gather information
Information, yeah.
or you're trying to plant an information.
Hmm.
So I'd say Inception. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Then the next question is, what is your dream car? I know you are a car lover, right? So, and I know there should be a
uh,
particular car that's gonna be your dream car. So what's that?
for that's a tough one. That's a very tough one. For the longest, it's always been the uh, G63 6x6.
Hmm.
So that's a six wheeler of
Yeah,
the G Wagon. Six-wheel drive. I love that car. I love that car.
that's a
But I also have this strong desire for the Pontiac Firebird.
that's
That's
also a
also a
very good one.
classic.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful car. Uh, so if I were to pick one of the two,
Yes.
I don't think I can.
You have to pick one.
um, I'll go with the six by six.
6x6.
I'll go with the six by six.
That's
I
that's
love
a
the presence of that car. I love,
that's a very good choice.
yeah.
Yeah. And the next one here is phone call or text message.
Hmm.
You like being on the phone or you just prefer to send a message? Quick message.
That's why are you asking me all these tough questions?
They're not tough. It's just I like to be on the call or I like to just send messages, it's
It depends on my mood.
okay.
Yeah, there are some times that I'm like, this message I want to pass across to you. There's no point
Would you
typing it out. Like it's too long. I might as well
just
just
call
get
you?
on a call,
Oh,
tell you within 30 seconds, even. You know.
yeah.
So in that instance, yes, I'd prefer a call. But my parents would probably state otherwise because I don't call. Because I don't call often, you know.
Yeah, true.
So other times I'm just like, okay, I don't want to talk to anybody. Anything you want to tell me,
Just
just
say
send a
yeah,
message.
10
So
things,
it's
yeah.
it's 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 like half and half.
Fair
Yes.
enough. Fair enough. All right. So the next one is if your job had a superhero, what would be their power?
If my job,
Had a superhero. So what's gonna be the power?
hmm, I'd probably mind reading.
So you want to know what is going on in your client's mind.
Yes.
What
I
exactly are
want
you
to
looking
know. I
for?
want to know the state of your mind as I'm talking to you, as I'm telling you things. I want to know if I'm losing you.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, yeah, okay.
there are visual cues that would let you know when you're losing someone, when you're talking to the person, when
Yeah.
you're trying to engage with someone. There are visual cues, but there are some people with very good poker face.
Yeah, you
They,
don't know
they,
you don't even know
they'll,
what
they'll
they're
be
thinking.
nodding
Like
and they're really interested in what you're saying, but they've lost you.
yeah, true, true,
You
true,
know,
true.
so I'd say mind reading. So you'd really know, okay, I'm losing this person. Oh, I had his attention when I said this,
Hmm.
and maybe expand on that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay. So the last one in this icebreaker is if you could get paid for a hobby, what would it be?
get paid for
Yeah,
a
for a
hobby,
hobby. Something you love doing.
driving cars.
I know. I was
driving,
expecting that.
driving cars. Yes, yeah. Even if you don't pay me, if I already have money and
You just be on the road, just
ah,
keep driving it.
no, not just okay. So old age is setting in. Maybe not long drives,
Yeah, but
but just being able to drive different cars.
cars. Okay, fair enough.
I'd told myself that I want to get to a stage where I know what it's like driving in different countries of the world
Mm-hmm.
and with different cars.
Different cars. Okay.
So travel to this country, probably document it. Oh, this is what it's like driving in this country. This is what it's like driving this car.
Yeah.
I've always watched Top Gear
Yeah,
growing
Top
up,
Gear. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
and I thought those guys had the best job in the world. Because literally, you're getting paid to drive cars and talk
Exactly.
about cars and insult them, man. you know. So yes,
Anyways, thank you for that. And let's just dive into the questions now. So, the first one here I will ask you is the story? Can you share the story behind why you chose your career path? And was it a defining moment?
mm, yes. I'd go way back to when I was little. There was this game that myself and a friend of mine grew up playing.
Hmm.
It was called Dangerous Dave.
I don't think
Yes,
I know that.
very old game. Early, I think it was released early 90s.
Okay.
So we played it when we were very little. And I think that was what sparked my curiosity that made me read computer science because I have a bachelor's in computer science.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up playing that game and I wanted to know how is it that I'm pressing these things and
And it's always
something on the
appearing.
screen is moving. How? How is this happening? And then in going further, I'd see other like-minded people then playing with Microsoft Word. You
Yeah.
remember the clip art? No, no, the that clip icon that was like an assistant back then in Microsoft Word. Maybe you don't remember
No,
that you could change it to a robot and you could change it to another thing, but it was basically like the Microsoft Assistant at the time. And then I'd play around with it and try to draw diagrams in Microsoft Word and everything. So like growing up, I already knew I wanted to study
computer
computer
science.
science. So I think that game was what first really piqued my interest in computer science. But then for data analytics, I would say it was when I was working at the last company I worked at in Nigeria, which was Prezo Group. I I was exposed to a lot of data there.
Okay.
They were in the medical consulting industry, so they basically were dealing with a lot of data around vaccine refrigerators and having trying to monitor the temperatures and if they're faulty or not. And it was very interesting because I didn't know so much about data analytics at the time,
Okay.
but working there made me realize, oh look, looking through all this data to try and know when an equipment will go down. I did some research and then I realized, okay, so this is sort of predictive
This is a.
analytics.
Mhm.
So that was what, okay, I was like, okay, so I like this thing. I like the dashboards we're able to build. I want to study it further.
Mm.
And then I started doing some research
Research
and then I moved to Ireland for my master's
in data
in data analytics.
scientists. Okay, it's good. Thank you so much. And so now you came to Ireland to study data analytics, right? So this question, how did you get your foot into the industry after your masters? What did you do? You know, it was there. Did anything happen?
Yes. So immediately after the master's, I started working uh, at a call center job. That was actually my first job
Hmm.
um, for the HSE. So then during COVID,
Okay.
we were the ones that would answer, if you had questions, if basically any information you needed, would have to, help you dig, go through the scripts, find what the answer is, and give it to you. Um, what I my takeaway from that job was being able to handle very difficult people.
Okay.
Now, we were given a script that we had to follow,
Follow. Yeah.
but there were some people that were like, no, you're not answering my question. So it gave me the patience. So first, I was able to understand where they're coming from. Like,
Yeah.
okay, look, yes, I know you're going through a lot. It's a tough time, and I'll try to help you as best as possible.
Yeah.
So that's one key takeaway from that job. And if you believe it, it actually did help me secure my job in Group M
Okay.
because it was part of the things I was able to exhibit to them, like show them that yes, like look, I can talk to people. It's not just yes, it was evident in my previous job, but even from Nigeria, the kind of role that
That you
I took
carried
up,
on. Yeah.
you know, it's it showed that I could talk to people, I could handle tough situations.
It's more
So
of a people management kind of field.
yes, so it was a people management skill. It was a transferable skill,
Yeah.
so to speak. Same thing with when I worked as a peer mentor at NCI.
Okay. Yeah.
I know
we both
we
did
were
that.
in that together. So I think it was those transferable skills that also contributed to me getting my job at Group M.
Mhm.
So that I'll tell you that was how that was part of the things that helped me get into my role as a data analyst at Group M. It was after tons and tons and hundreds of applications.
I know. I those are,
It
those are,
was it was a dreadful process, but I kept at it.
Mhm.
I was hopeful. Many times I didn't hear back, but the times I did, the interview went well. I'd get an offer, but then maybe something further down the line, something happened and it didn't work through. But with Group M, like it was, and I'll share an interesting story about the hiring process at
Mhm.
Group M. The hiring manager at the time, when you're reading through the LinkedIn profile, your first instinct, especially when you have to apply to so many jobs,
Jobs, yeah.
your first instinct is just to scan through the requirements they
Yeah.
need, maybe read about the company at the top and everything. But the hiring manager at the time, God bless his soul, I love him. He put just a fine line somewhere in the job description and said, your favorite number is 47. He mentioned the number. And when I applied, it was like he when he responded, he said, "Have you read through the application? Have you read through the job description? Are you happy with everything? And please share what he said. Share what your favorite animal is and what your favorite number is." I'm like, why is this?
Question
Yeah, why
relevant
is he asking me about my favorite animal, my favorite
number.
number? But because I had gone through the
Job
job
description.
description again, then saw that
Yeah.
line. I was like, ah. And when I got employed, he was like, yes, that's what he did to filter out people that
Pay
wouldn't
attention.
read the details.
Ah,
Yes.
that's a smart
So
one.
very, very, very smart. So he wanted people that would pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
So that's how I got shortlisted for that interview.
So, in essence, attention to details matters.
Attention to detail. Yes.
That's good. That's
It,
good.
it, it has it has cost me a job as well. So I know the essence of attention to detail.
That's good. So, okay, to the next question here, I would say, what is one thing about your job that most people get wrong?
Good one. Uh, Most people think data analytics is just about the numbers.
Hmm.
They think, oh, okay, you're just skimming through data, producing numbers. Oh, um, X% up, X number of visits to the websites, that and this and that. But it's more than that. It's more about the interpretation. Data analytics is more about storytelling.
Mhm.
You need to be able to eh, look beyond the number and talk about the meaning.
Hmm.
So that's where um, domain knowledge comes in.
Okay, what's the main
So,
knowledge?
domain knowledge, say you are working as a data analyst for a finance company,
Mhm.
you need to have some knowledge about the finance industry.
Oh, okay.
It's not enough to have technical skills that, oh, you're great with Excel, you're great with SQL
Mhm.
and Python, but are you able to interpret the data that comes out of your analysis?
Oh, okay. That
So
makes sense.
that's most people think data analysis is just about analyzing the data, but it's not. It's about interpreting the data as well.
Okay, fair enough. Good one. So, can you just, tell us what is the most significant challenge you are currently navigating?
I'd say it's some of the newer projects that I'm handling in the office.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, with the promotion and being moved up to a senior business
Scenario, yeah.
intelligence analyst, it comes with a lot more
More,
work.
yeah. More
So
responsibility.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there was a project that someone in the company was previously handling. She was changing jobs, so
hmm
she was leaving the company, and it was like, okay, there was nobody else that would handle that project.
hmm
And then I stepped up. I was like, look, I think we can retain this sort of projects within the company rather than
Letting it go somewhere else.
letting
Yeah.
it go somewhere else. And I stepped forward and I said, yes, I'll do this. It's a project I've never done before.
hmm
It's the marketing industry on its own is is big. So first of all, having that domain knowledge about the marketing
Yeah.
industry, and then having knowledge about the specific client that the project falls under.
hmm
So yes, I'll say that's the major challenge I'm facing now. Is it a challenge I am crushing? I would say so. I'd say so. Because now we have two of such projects um, in the pipeline. One is already ongoing. The second one is in the pipeline, and it's going to be delivered.
Yeah, that's great, and that's just because you decided to step up,
Step up,
and
exactly,
take on that challenge, even
exactly.
though it seems very difficult.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. So, have you ever had a job you disliked? Like, you know, there are some jobs that you're like, oh no, why am I even in this job? Why am
Mm.
I doing this? So have you ever had, a job you dislike, and how did you navigate that experience?
Yes. So for a short time, I worked as a junior programmer.
Mm. Okay.
Yes, as a junior programmer, and it was it was one of the most challenging. Um, it was one of the most challenging jobs I'd
Jobs.
ever done.
Mm.
It's maybe partly because fresh out of I was fresh out of college at the time, so for my bachelor's,
Yeah. Okay.
and I was basically thrown into the deep end.
Depend.
I there was no guideline, no knowledge base, no.
No structure or whatever.
It was Jesus. It was a lot. It was a lot. Um, but again, I kept at it. I did as much as I could. But I'll say that the most challenging thing about that job was, I guess, because I wasn't entirely comfortable with the programming language that they were using at the time.
Mm. Okay.
So I think that's what made me struggle more, you know.
Mm.
But in hindsight, knowing what I know now about life, about the industry, I would have handled that differently.
Differently.
Like
Yeah.
knowing
Yeah.
what I know now, I would have perhaps taken a month or 2 months to understand that language properly.
Before going into it.
Yes,
Yeah.
before. So I guess what really made it difficult was perhaps my naivety
hmm
about life in general.
You got the job. Just you're eager to start the job, and you just
Exactly,
jump into the.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And this is the major question. Yeah, I would say, is can you share a high and a low moment in your career that taught you a valuable lesson?
A high and a low moment. A low moment in my career. I'll maybe I'd start with the high moment
Okay,
because
that's good.
that's what I remember the most. Um, oh no, the low moments. I'd say low moments. There are quite a number of them. Maybe one was when I was struggling to find a job,
Mm-hmm.
both here and back
Back,
home in
okay, in
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
That time of searching for a job is, I guess anyone would probably tell you the same thing, is
Yeah.
one of the most challenging times
I know.
in
We have
someone's
we have
life.
we have all been there. So
Especially when you're back home, where as you do not want to rely on anyone for anything,
yeah,
you know? You want to be independent, but then the jobs aren't forthcoming.
yeah,
You're doing your bits, trying to apply, trying to upskill yourself and things like that, but the jobs aren't just forthcoming. And that has happened at multiple stages. It happened right after my bachelor's. It happened when I was trying to get my job at Group M, you know.
yeah.
So it's I think it's a challenge that everyone faces. So yes, that's a low moment, but a high moment I would say would be when there are a number of them as well. When I got promoted to my current position,
That's a big milestone.
that's was a
Yeah.
big one. When another one I really felt good about actually was when I was asked to present some of the work we've done, my team had done in our town hall.
Mm.
Usually it's the head of our departments
That does
that would
okay.
handle that. But then I was asked to do that, and it was, for me, it was a high moment
Yeah, because
because it meant more recognition
Sean,
within the
yeah,
company.
yeah,
It meant more people are seeing what I was doing, what my team was
doing,
doing,
yeah.
and off the back of that town hall, more people reached out to me that, oh, we saw you in the town hall. We know you're able to do this. How can you help
Help
us
us,
in
yeah.
this area and things like that? So that was a valuable moment,
Moment, yeah.
a high moment in my career as well.
Yeah, it's good to have times where, people that don't even know you before,
Yes,
see you do something and they recognize you for that,
exactly. It's a
and in return, you gain that trust of the
yes,
company. They say,
yes,
"Oh, I saw this person present this, so
yes.
he definitely has an idea."
Exactly,
Yeah, so
and it goes that you're more than just a name in an email,
true, true, true.
because we're constantly sending
Emails,
emails,
yeah,
emails. But when they're okay, this is the work that
yeah,
this guy does.
yeah, true. That's
Yeah.
that's true. So yeah, back to this question. Yeah, I would say, what is a skill you wish you had learned earlier in your career?
Python,
Python,
easy
coding.
Python.
Okay.
Yes, in um, during my BSc, there's a guy that was working on the project, and he was telling us about how cool Python was and how he could do really cool things and this and that. And I guess at the time the concept just flew over my head. Like
Mm,
maybe because I wasn't interested at the
yeah.
time. But when I came here and I started writing Python scripts and coding in Python, I was like, ah,
I wish I had.
if only I was like, if only I'd, listened to this guy when he was talking, I would have been way better than I am
Yeah.
at Python. But yeah, that's one thing, like, for sure. That's one skill that I know, if I could go back in time,
You
yes.
would have done that. So, like, you still have a long way to go, and
Yes, yes.
like they say, practice makes perfect.
Hmm.
So you
And
keep.
I'd say within the time I picked it up,
Mhm.
I was able to pick it up really fast.
Fast. Okay.
So I had good understanding of the fundamentals of the basics about programming,
Yeah.
because I actually enjoyed it in
Mm.
school, but I didn't go into the different programming
Languages.
languages.
Okay.
That's the mistake I made when I was in school. I only stayed within the programming languages that
Your
were
thoughts.
taught
Okay.
in school.
Yeah. Okay. To the fun questions. If you could trade jobs for a day, what would it be?
If I could trade jobs for a day,
Any job.
I would I would probably trade jobs with someone like Aliko Dangote,
Hmm. A
Otetola,
business.
business tycoon.
Yeah.
I would, at some point in my life, I do want to own multiple
Businesses. Yeah.
businesses.
Mm.
You know, so I'd like to, and the reason why I use, but I deliberately used African business moguls
Yeah.
because I see the work they're doing, commendable work
Hmm.
in the business field, and yes, I think I'd like to step into their shoes, see how those companies
Wrong.
run within,
Mm.
within and across the different arms of businesses.
Fair enough.
So that's yes, I'd like to be a business mogul.
So business mogul Remi Adesoji.
Exactly.
All right. So this one is talking about money. So imagine money is not a problem. Like you have no issues. You're not thinking about money from any angle.
Mm.
So what passion project or career dream would you pursue?
Okay.
Money is not an issue. Remember that.
That one too is an easy question. I'd open a car garage.
Yeah, I know you love
I,
cars. Yeah,
I, I that's too easy. I'd I'd open a garage. I'd be restoring classic cars,
Mhm.
and I will be upgrading normal cars. So, say you want to tune your car, you want to change this or that. You know, it's, funny enough, I follow quite a number of people on YouTube where they buy their crashed,
Cars
damaged
and yeah,
cars and
and
fix it
fix it
up.
up on yourself.
Um, Matt Armstrong, I think, bought Rashford's crashed Rolls Royce
Hmm.
and he fixed it.
That's,
Mansouri,
that's a very
parts were bloody expensive, but he made it work. And I would sit and watch the entire 1 hour long
video.
YouTube video, see the entire process.
Hmm.
That's something I find very interesting. So definitely, I'd open a car garage.
Yeah, I was not expecting anything less because I know you're a
that
car lover, so
that's all. I'd be a race car driver.
it still revolves around cars.
Yes.
So I was not expecting anything less, but that's fine. So yeah, to now, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Hmm. First financial advice I'd give my younger self: invest in Bitcoin. Invest in Bitcoin. Just buy it and hold it because I did hear about it then, but I didn't
Yeah, I
understand the
know.
concept again.
Sure.
So yes, that's the first advice I'd give myself. Invest in Bitcoin. Second one would be to invest my time more wisely.
Hmm.
I sometimes tend to um, push things further a little bit. You know,
Kind of, yeah.
there are certain things that you need to do at this
Now,
time, right now.
yeah,
Now is the time to do it. When you tell yourself, "Oh, I, I'll, I'll do it tomorrow," or "I have a
I
bit
still
more
have time.
time,"
Yeah, I still have time.
yes, that's where you get it wrong.
Yeah.
When so I then what I then adopted was when I think about something, I start acting on it immediately,
Hmm.
no matter how little it is. So say I I've been telling myself I should read a book, I should read a book. The moment it pops into my head and I'm like, okay, I've had enough,
You
I'd
start
start, even if it's the
just one
first
page.
page
Yeah,
alone that I read,
yeah, you
I'd
start it.
start it. I make sure I start it. If I think about a business idea,
Hmm.
for example, I'm not like, okay, I'll wait till I have the money before I start it. No,
Start
I'd
making
start, even
research.
if, exactly. So even if it's just the research I start,
Yeah,
I make
start
sure I start
something.
something. you know
That's a good
so
one.
that's what I'll tell myself. Invest your time more wisely. It's not every time watching movies.
Movies or
you
playing
know
games.
I don't even play games
as
as
much. Oh,
much.
okay.
But you see movies. I'll watch movies when I want to sleep. I'll watch movies when I want to eat. But even sometimes when I'm working, maybe I like that background noise.
Nice.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not necessarily watching it,
But you just want something to
but I
play
just
on
want,
the yeah.
yes, I just want it in the background. I'm
Okay.
sort of following it, but yeah, just two things: invest in Bitcoin, invest in
Your time.
your time,
Mm,
invest your time more
wisely.
wisely.
That's good. Thank you so much. And this one is what is a key takeaway you would give our audience or listeners after listening to this episode?
Yes, I would say I'd say a couple of things. One, if you're looking to start your journey
Hmm.
as a data analyst or a data engineer or a data scientist, business intelligence, or any of that kind of field,
Field, yeah.
I'd say you start it right now.
Now is the best time.
Yes,
Mm,
now is the best time. The reason I say so is that the field is wide enough, and you need to understand it to know what sector suits you best.
mm,
You know,
okay.
you need to know what tools, what technology. You need to know how the market is like.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'll say yes. Start your journey now. Again, no matter how little the step you take is, it could be finding the right guy on YouTube to follow.
Yeah.
It could be finding the first course you need to take.
Hmm.
You know, but no matter what it is,
Just do it.
start
Start
your
now.
journey. Second thing is, regardless of how long it takes, keep at it.
Mm,
Because it might,
consistency.
yes, consistency. It might take a while for you to land that first job or land that best job.
Hmm.
You know, there's a first job and
The
there's a
best job.
best job.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it might take a while for you to land the first job or the best job, but
Just be consistent.
be consistent, keep at it. If you stop halfway, then you might as well have never
Started
started.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
good.
keep at it. Network,
Mm,
reach out to people for help
mm,
as much as like so the worst they could say is no, I can't help you.
yeah.
You know, you're not reaching out to people for a job. You're reaching out to people for guidance.
Guardians. Yeah.
You're reaching out to people for information
Hmm.
because you want to understand.
They say information is key.
Yes, information is key. So you should network and possibly get yourself a coach.
Mm,
You know, you can you can you can only do so much yourself,
yeah.
especially if you're new in the
New.
field.
Hmm.
You might want a coach to
Guide
shorten your
you.
learning process.
Yeah.
You still have a learning process, but they're able to guide you and say, okay, first look at this area, and then look at this area, and then look at this area,
Yeah.
rather than you know, going onto the open web and trying to piece the information together. You have someone that would guide you down the
On
right
the right
path.
path. Yeah. Anyways, that's fine. Thank you so much, Remy. We've come to the end of today's episode. And before you
Thank you.
leave,
Okay.
just one final question for you, and which is, what is next for you, and where can the listeners, connect with you or follow your career journey?
Okay, I'll start with the second one. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn will
LinkedIn.
be the
Okay.
best place for you to find me. So if you just search Remi Adesoji, you'd find me on LinkedIn. As to what is next for me, um, I'd say you should watch out for the programming I was running away from. Yes, I ran into it. So I'm creating an application which I'm going to launch very soon.
Okay.
Yes,
What's the application about?
it's to help. It's basically to help learner drivers in their journey trying to get their driver's
License.
license in Ireland.
Island. Okay.
So that should be released very soon. When it's
Mm,
released, I'll put it up on my page on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
so everybody knows where to find it.
That's a very good one because I know when before I started driving, it took almost a year to get things done because
Yes,
from your theory test down to the
exactly.
practice and
Yes,
all of that. So
yes.
so are you saying your app has all of those encompassed in one?
Yes. So again, I don't want to spill so much
Okay,
tea
okay,
yet,
okay.
but basically it will guide you through the entire process from from scratch. So you don't have any license, you don't have your learner's permit, you've not done theory tests, you need information like step by step guide
Hmm.
that'll be available. And then for each stage, you'd also be able to practice the theory test, practice routes, find driving instructors, things like that. So basically,
Okay.
then whatever stage of the license journey you're on,
Hmm.
there'll be information to help you.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much for that. And
Thank
I
you.
am honestly looking forward to seeing the app. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode.
Thank
We
you.
really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you guys. Thank you for watching today's episode. We'll see you in the next one.